The Huntress from Zakara. The jungle was alive but silent. Birds flew above the thick green trees. Insects clicked. Strange animal sounds echoed in the distance. But something was off. The leaves moved, but not with wind. Something was watching. From a high tree branch, an alien huntress crouched. Her skin shimmered like silver glass, almost blending with the air around her. Her long black hair was tied back. Her yellow eyes were sharp, scanning the ground below. Her name was Veilrin, and she was not from this world. Zakara warriors were known across galaxies, powerful, proud, fast, and Veilrin was one of the best. She had come alone to this dangerous jungle planet for her blood trial, a test that would prove she was ready to lead her own hunting clan. She had expected beasts, monsters, maybe even other hunters. But not him. Below, near a muddy riverbank, a human male was kneeling. He was shirtless, his chest covered in dirt and sweat. Muscles rippled across his back as he sharpened a long spear. His hair was messy, his eyes calm, and he moved like he owned the land. Veilrin narrowed her eyes. "What is a human doing here?" she whispered. Humans were smart. Sure, dangerous with technology, but without ships? Without weapons? On a wild, jungle world, this one had no armor, no scanner, no translator, and still, he was alive. Not just alive, thriving. She watched him for hours. He moved like a predator, quiet, careful. Every step he took was planned. He walked through thick vines without a single branch snapping underfoot. He stopped to drink water, but first tested it with a handmade tool. He trapped 2 small creatures using only sticks and rocks. Then it happened. The ground shook. Birds screamed and flew away. A massive creature, 10 feet tall with armored legs and sharp tusks, charged through the trees. A thunder beast. Any normal person would run. But not the human. He picked up his spear, rolled sideways behind a thick tree and waited. The beast roared and charged, and in one perfect move, the human leapt out, aimed, and threw. The spear pierced the beast's eye. It fell with a crash, shaking the earth. Veilrin gasped. Her claws tightened on the tree. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. This wasn't luck. This was skill. Savage skill. Perfect instincts. Her heart beat faster. Her pupils widened. She felt something she hadn't expected. Admiration. And something more dangerous. Desire. She turned on her scanner. It focused on the human's blood on the spear tip. Scanning. Species human genetic ranking, highly adaptable DNA. Analysis 93.5% compatible with Zakaran hunter. Class potential breeding value. Exceptional. Veilrin swallowed hard. She remembered her mission. Collect powerful DNA. Return with proof. Maybe even bond with a worthy male. Her cheeks flushed with heat. Was this human worthy? No. She shook her head. He was dirty, wild, probably a savage. She couldn't actually consider him. But she didn't stop watching. The human, his name was Jack, dragged the thunder beast to a rock. He carved its meat with sharp bones. He took only what he needed and left the rest for the jungle. Not savage. Not wasteful. Wise. Then, something even stranger happened. A small alien creature, a baby beast with one eye and broken legs, limped toward him. Most hunters would kill it. Jack didn't. He paused, studied it, then broke a piece of meat and gave it to the creature, slowly, gently. The baby beast purred and sat beside him. Veilrin's heart skipped a beat. Emotional response detected hormonal spike in user. Elevated advice. Maintain mission focus. She turned off the scanner in frustration. Her claws dug into the bark of the tree. This wasn't normal. This wasn't how a blood trial was supposed to go. She had come for prey, for a trophy. But now, she wasn't sure. Jack looked up suddenly, straight at the tree she was in. Veilrin didn't move. He couldn't see her. Her suit was camouflaged. Her body was still. But then, he smiled, just a little, like he knew. Then he picked up his spear, turned away, and walked into the trees, disappearing into the green. Valrin stayed frozen, heart pounding. Who was this man? Why did she feel like she was the one being hunted now? She didn't have the answer. But one thing was clear. This human was not ordinary. And she couldn't look away. Watching the wild human, the first rule of a Zakaran huntress was clear. Never get emotionally involved with the prey. But Valrin had already broken that rule. She sat on a thick tree branch, legs crossed, visor down, watching him for the third night in a row. This wasn't hunting anymore. This was observation, or maybe something more dangerous. Down below, the human, Jack, sat beside a quiet campfire surrounded by wild jungle. The small alien creature he had saved earlier now rested on his lap, sleeping soundly. He didn't know she was there, or maybe he did. Jack suddenly spoke. "You planning to keep watching forever?" Valrin's eyes widened. She didn't move. Didn't breathe. Or, Jack continued, tossing another stick into the fire. "You waiting for me to look worse before you strike?" He still wasn't looking up, but his voice, it was calm, not scared, not angry, curious. She felt a strange chill climb her spine. No one had ever sensed her while cloaked. Not once. Not even trained assassins. This human was starting to feel less like prey and more like something else. She activated her scanner again. Subject: human awareness level: unknown. Mental state: balanced heart rate, controlled note. Unusual calm under pressure. She narrowed her eyes. Jack got up slowly, stretched, then walked toward a tree, not far from where she was hiding. He picked up a vine, peeled off its outer layer, and used the inner strands to bind sticks into a stronger spear. It wasn't just skill, it was instinct. He didn't rely on tech. He didn't use scanners, drones, or tracking beacons. Everything he did came from raw human knowledge, ancient survival, and it was working. Even the local predators avoided him now. She had seen one giant crawler beast sniff his trail, then turn away like it feared him. But what shocked her most was his heart. Earlier that day, he had found a nest of orphaned creatures. Instead of stealing their eggs or food, he left behind berries and meat. She didn't understand. He was hungry. Why give? Her people never gave anything to the weak. Only the strong mattered. And yet here he was doing the opposite. It made her feel wrong. Like maybe everything she was taught wasn't complete. Suddenly, her comm link buzzed in her ear. Commander voice. "Status update, Valrin. Have you located a valuable genetic source?" She stayed silent. "Respond. Our drones detected strange spikes in your hormone levels. Emotional compromise is forbidden." She hissed under her breath and shut off the link. Then, to her shock, Jack whistled. Not a loud call, just a soft tune. A simple, human melody. It echoed gently through the jungle. And then he said, "You know, I could have killed that thunder beast without being watched." Valrin almost gasped. He knew. He had known for days. Her instincts told her to run, to leave the planet and forget this mission. But she stayed. Even as the jungle winds moved around her, even as bugs buzzed past her ears, she didn't move. She was drawn to him now. Then Jack did something unexpected. He placed something at the base of the tree she was in, a piece of alien fruit, her favorite kind. He didn't say another word, just turned around and walked away. Valrin stared at the fruit. Her heart pounded. Scanning object. Fruit type. Edible meaning. Cultural. Peace offering. Suggestion. Human is trying to communicate. This wasn't prey behavior. This was courtship. And that scared her more than any predator ever could. He knows she's watching. He drew her face. In the dirt. With just a stick. Valerin's breath caught. High in the trees, cloaked and still, she stared down at the sketch below. The eyes were sharp, the chin proud, the markings across the cheeks, just like hers. It wasn't perfect, but it was her. He knew. Jack, the wild human, had drawn the Huntress who had been secretly following him. And then, he wrote 2 words under the sketch. Your move. Valerin's claws trembled on the tree branch. She had been careful. No sound. No scent. She even moved only when the wind blew to mask her presence. But somehow, he had sensed her. Again and again. He had laid fruit near her hiding spot. He had looked into the trees without seeing but still knowing. He had talked to her even when she said nothing. Now he had drawn her. Her stomach twisted. Was it fear? No. It was something else. Curiosity. Hunger. Confusion. What kind of creature was this human? She zoomed her visor in. Jack was now sitting near a fire again, arms resting on his knees, staring at the sky. No weapons nearby, no armor, just him. Vulnerable, or maybe pretending to be. She dropped to the ground without a sound. Her boots touched the dirt like feathers. She didn't know why, but she walked toward the drawing, slowly, quietly. Then Jack said without turning, "Took you long enough." She froze. He wasn't even looking. He smiled. "I was starting to think you were just a ghost," he added. Valerin stepped back. Her instincts told her to cloak again, vanish, run. But something inside whispered, "Stay." He looked over his shoulder now, his blue eyes meeting hers. Real and raw. "You're real," he said softly. "Didn't expect that." Valerin uncloaked, her armor shimmered and faded, revealing her alien skin, her long black hair, her silver blue armor, and her shining yellow eyes. Jack blinked once, but he didn't reach for a weapon. Instead, he picked up the fruit she had ignored before and held it out. She stared. "I thought your kind didn't interact with low-spec species," she finally said, her voice low and firm. Jack shrugged. "I don't know what spec I am, but I know you've been watching me, so either we talk or keep hiding like teenagers." Valerin tilted her head. "You mock me?" "No," Jack said, his voice sincere. "You've seen me fight, seen me survive. I know you have tech. Why are you here?" She didn't answer. Not fully. Instead, she stepped closer and asked, "You're not afraid of me?" He looked her up and down. "No," he replied. "Should I be?" She was silent. Then Jack smiled again. Small, honest. "You're not the first person to stalk me, but definitely the most beautiful one." Valerin felt heat rise in her cheeks. That was new. No one had ever said something like that to a Zikaran warrior. "You joke," she muttered. "Maybe. But you smiled a little." "I did not. You did." A moment passed. Tension melted slightly. Then Jack stood up. "Look, I don't know who sent you or what you want, but if you wanted me dead, I'd already be dead." Valerin finally nodded. "Correct. So what do you want?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Not the truth, not yet. "I wanted to understand how you do it." Jack blinked. "Do what?" "Survive. Kill. Show mercy. You are not like the humans my people speak of. You're raw, pure. You belong here." He chuckled. "I've been called a lot of things. Pure is new." She looked him straight in the eye. "And your genes, they are unlike anything I've seen. Strong, adaptive, dangerous." He raised a brow. "Wait, are you here to study me?" "I was. Was? I don't know anymore." A long silence. The jungle buzzed. The fire crackled. Then Jack said softly, "You could have just said hi, you know." Valerin blinked. "Instead of spying," he continued. I don't bite, unless you're a thunder beast. She gave a soft laugh, quickly silenced. Jack grinned. She hated how easily he did that. Make her forget her mission. Make her feel something else. And she knew it now. This wasn't just observation. This was the beginning of something more dangerous than a hunt. Something she couldn't control. The DNA dilemma. She stood in the river, not to bathe, not to drink, but to wash off the mission. Vale Ryn stared at her hands, hands that once ripped creatures apart, hands that never trembled in battle. But now, they did. Water slid down her fingers, but the feeling wouldn't leave. The human had changed something. Behind her, the jungle whispered. The night was cool, but inside her chest a strange heat stirred. She remembered Jack's words, his eyes, his laugh, how he offered food, how he trusted without reason. Why? Zakarans didn't trust. They tested, they measured, they used. But Jack, he believed. A beep broke the silence. Incoming message. Commander Varkor reluctantly. She tapped her wrist plate. The hologram opened. Her superior's face appeared, cold, scaly, and covered in metals. Vale Ryn, you are late. Status? She stared at the water, then looked up. The subject is not like the others. He's a human. They're all chaotic. No, she said slowly. He is something else. He doesn't use weapons, yet he wins. He gives, yet survives. His DNA is stronger than predicted. Her commander narrowed his eyes. Then harvest it. Her jaw tightened. Take what we need, a drop of blood, a strand of hair, something simple. Simple? Nothing about Jack felt simple anymore. Or, Varkor added with a sneer, you may bond. If you think his genetics are truly that valuable, seal it. Her heart stopped. Bond with a human? It was only for desperate missions. Only when the target's DNA needed to be protected from other clans, or when it showed rare compatibility. She didn't answer. One more day, the commander said. After that, we send a drone, and if you failed, we take him by force. The call ended. Vale Ryn sank to her knees in the river. Bond. It wasn't just a word. For her people, bonding was sacred. Once done, it could not be undone. It was more than love. It was ownership. A claim written into the stars. Could she do that? Could she bond with this human? She stood up, dripping wet, fists clenched. Then her scanner buzzed. Target movement detected human Jack. Unusual pattern stress level. High she ran. She found Jack standing by a fallen tree, staring at a strange silver orb. The drone had arrived early. Vale Ryn's blood froze. Jack turned. This thing flew, down from nowhere. Just hovered here and scanned me. Then it played a message in some weird alien language. She stepped forward quickly. Did it touch you? No. Why? Her mind raced. The drone was from her own people. If it scanned his DNA fully, they didn't need her anymore, and that meant Jack could become a test subject, locked away in a lab forever. He frowned. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Vale Ryn walked up to him. Close. Too close. Jack raised a brow. Everything all right, princess? She didn't answer. Instead, she grabbed his hand, soft, warm, real. Do you trust me? She asked. He blinked. Honestly, I don't know, but I want to. Then come with me. Where? She looked to the stars. Away from here, before it's too late. They ran through the jungle, past the glowing trees, past howls in the dark. Her fingers stayed wrapped around his. She never let go. Not this time. When they finally stopped, under a thick root shelter deep in the mountain caves, Jack sat down, breathing hard. He looked at her, confused. You want to tell me what's going on? She took a breath, then finally said the truth. My people want your DNA. He laughed. Okay. Weird compliment, but thanks. No, they want to take it. Without asking. Without mercy. They believe your genes are rare. Useful for battle. For creation. His smile faded. And you? He asked. I was sent to collect it. Or bond with you. To make you mine. Jack stared at her, stunned, then whispered, So what now? Baelrin looked down. I don't know. The test of strength. Jack woke up with blood in his mouth. But it wasn't his. He sat up slowly, wiping his face with a shaky hand. Around him, the jungle floor was torn apart, branches broken, rocks scattered. His knuckles were raw. His side hurt with every breath. And standing above him, 3 Zakaran warriors, massive, armored, faces cold like stone, and beside them, her Baelrin. But she wasn't dressed in her jungle gear now. She wore the ceremonial armor of her clan, silver chestplate, glowing tattoos. Her face was unreadable. What is this? Jack asked, his voice rough. Baelrin didn't answer. One of the warriors stepped forward. You are the human. The one our sister believes is worthy. Jack blinked. Sister? The tallest warrior nodded at Baelrin. She has asked for your protection, to bond, but such a claim must be earned. Jack stood, wobbly. You want me to fight you? No, the warrior said coldly. You must survive us. Jack looked at Baelrin. Is this a joke? She finally spoke. Softly. If you win, they will accept you. They won't take you to the labs. You'll be free. And if I lose? She looked away. They'll take what they need. From your body, dead or alive. Jack wiped his face again. Great. The warriors gave no warning. The first charged, faster than a bull, swinging a plasma blade the size of a door. Jack ducked just in time. The blade slammed into a rock behind him, shattering it. He grabbed a stick, not a weapon. Just a stick, but his eyes, they were calm. Let's dance, he muttered. The second warrior came from the side. Jack threw dirt into her eyes, then rolled under her feet, using her weight to flip her over. The crowd gasped. Yes, there was a crowd now. More Zakarans had arrived, surrounding the clearing. Warriors, elders, watching, judging. Baelrin stood silently, her heart pounding. She had seen this test before. No outsider had ever passed it. Not one. Her people didn't want Jack to win. They wanted him to fail, so they could take his genes without his permission, so they could dissect him like a beast. But she didn't want that. She had seen his strength, his courage, his heart, and something deeper, a truth even her people had forgotten. Survival isn't always strength. Sometimes it's kindness. Jack was bleeding now. The third warrior had slammed him into a tree. He gasped, chest heaving, vision blurry. But he didn't stop. He picked up a broken rock and used it to trap the warrior's leg in a vine snare. When the warrior stumbled, Jack kicked him hard, right in the jaw. The warrior fell, stunned. Jack collapsed beside him, too weak to move. Silence. Then, applause? No. A roar. The Zakarans stood, nodded, murmured in their deep voices. The tall warrior turned to Baelrin. He lives. He is strong. His spirit does not break. Then, to Jack. You are no longer prey. Baelrin rushed to Jack's side, her eyes wet. He smiled weakly. Did I win? She nodded. You're one of us now. He laughed, coughing. That's funny. I didn't even apply. She touched his face. You didn't have to. You earned it. Then she whispered, only for him. And now I must choose. Between you and my people. Jack blinked. Wait, what? But before she could answer, a sharp beep echoed from her wrist. New order. Human is now classified as Asset Prime Recall Unit initiated. Return to Mothership with subject. Her heart stopped. They weren't going to let him go, not even now. Even after he passed their trial. Even after he bled and survived and proved himself. They still wanted to cage him. And now, Vale Rin had only one choice left. Run with him, or lose him forever. Mine, or theirs. The cuffs clicked shut, not on his wrists, on hers. Vale Rin stood still, hands bound in glowing chains, head bowed. Her people had arrested her, not the human. Not yet. Jack was still unconscious, lying beside the trial ring, breathing weak but steady. His skin was covered in bruises, his shirt torn, blood at the edge of his mouth. He had passed the impossible trial, but the council had made their decision anyway. He's too dangerous, the elders said, too unpredictable, too valuable. They would not let him go. Vale Rin's voice had shaken when she shouted, he earned his place. He followed the ancient ways. But her words didn't matter. They had seen what she felt. The way. She looked at Jack. The way her hand trembled when she touched him. Emotion was weakness. Bonding was betrayal. And betrayal meant chains. An hour later, inside the Silver Hall of Judgment, Vale Rin stood between the elders. Her armor was gone. Her rank stripped. Jack lay in a stasis field nearby, still breathing but unconscious and trapped in a glowing cube. Elder Rakthal spoke with a voice that echoed like thunder. You broke your oath. You chose a human over your people. Vale Rin raised her head. I chose what was right. Another elder hissed. You would throw away your bloodline for a savage? She took a breath. He showed more honor than any warrior here. Gasps, growls, fists clenched. Elder Rakthal growled. He will be taken to the labs. We will extract what we need. And you will never leave Zakara again. No, she whispered, then louder. No. In one blink of firelight, she moved. She twisted her arms, dislocating her shoulder, slipping out of the cuffs. Her legs kicked backward, knocking one guard into the wall. Her claws swiped another across the chest. Blood sprayed. Sirens screamed. Elders shouted. Vale Rin dove toward Jack's stasis cube. Override code Sister Priority Red. Access granted. The shield dropped. Jack fell forward, and she caught him. His eyes opened slightly. Hey, what did I miss? Everything, she said. Then she ran. Blades flew past her head. Alarms echoed in the trees. Zakaran hunters gave. Chase 5-10 more. She held Jack close even as he stumbled. I can't run fast, he coughed, then hold on to me. She lifted him, carried him like he was light as air. They crashed through the jungle deeper than they had ever gone, past glowing rivers, past howling caverns, to a place even her people feared, the grave vines. Long black vines like snakes twisted through the air. They moved if you bled. They struck if you breathed wrong. But Vale Rin didn't stop. Behind them, warriors shouted, weapons charged. Ahead, an escape pod, her old emergency pod, buried under vines. Only she knew the access code. She dropped too. Her knees entered the code and the hatch opened with a hiss. Jack groaned, barely awake. We're flying out? Yes. Where to? I don't know. She laid him inside and turned back toward the jungle. Warriors were breaking through. The trees, she stood in the doorway, blade in one hand. This is your last chance, Vale Rin, Elder Rakthal roared. Step aside, she shouted back, voice shaking. He is mine. The jungle froze. Not a leaf moved. Not a breath was heard. Even the vines stopped twisting. And in that moment, with her heart burning, Vale Rin made her choice. The pod launched. It shot through the canopy, through clouds, through atmosphere, leaving Zakara behind. Inside, Jack opened his eyes. You okay? He whispered. Vale Rin didn't answer at first, then she looked at him, voice soft. I lost everything. For you. He took her hand. No, he said gently. You found something. She blinked. What? He smiled. Us. Her final decision. The stars had never looked so empty. Vale Rin sat quietly in the tiny escape pod, arms wrapped around her knees. The silence pressed against the metal walls like a slow storm. The engines were off. They were drifting now. Between systems, between futures. Beside her, Jack slept. His head rested against her shoulder, his breathing calm at last. His wounds were healing. But her heart was not. She had lost everything, her rank, her home, her honor. And yet, as she looked at the human beside her, she didn't feel regret, only fear. Not of him, not of death, but of what came next. Jack woke up slowly, blinking at the soft green light inside the pod. "You're still here," he mumbled. Vale Rin looked at him. "I never left." He gave her a tired smile. "Good. I was worried I dreamed it." She reached out and touched his hand. "You didn't. We really escaped." He nodded, then said, "So, now what?" Silence. The question hung in the air like a blade. They had no ship, no allies. Her people would hunt them across the stars. Jack's world didn't even know he was gone. They had only each other. "I've been thinking," she said softly, "about bonding." Jack blinked. "Bonding?" She nodded. "In my culture, when someone gives up everything for another, they complete it with a vow. A choice of soul, not duty." Jack leaned back, processing. "And you want that? With me?" "I don't want it," she said. "I need it." He chuckled, a little shy. "You know I don't come from a world where we do vows like that, but I've seen what you gave up, and if your people ever come for me again..." He leaned forward, eyes steady. "I'll protect you like you protected me." Vale Rin felt her heart swell. "Then say it," she whispered. "Say it how humans do." Jack held her hand tighter. "Okay. I guess this is what you'd call a promise." He looked straight into her eyes. "No matter where we end up or who comes for us, I'm yours, always." Her breath caught. Then she whispered back, "And I am yours." The pod shook. Warning lights flashed. Incoming signal. Zakaran scout. Ship approaching distance 20,000 km speed. Fast, Jack cursed. "They found us?" Vale Rin jumped into the pilot seat. "Yes, they're tracking the pod's signature." He moved beside her. "Can we outrun them?" "No." She bit her lip. "But maybe. We don't have to." She entered a code. Self-destruct option. Enabled shield echo mode. On decoy pod activated, the pod blinked, then split. A fake pod launched in one direction, broadcasting their signal. The real pod, now dark and silent, drifted downward toward a moon covered in clouds and forest. "They'll chase the decoy," Vale Rin whispered. "We hide here. Start new." Jack looked out the window. "That moon doesn't look friendly." She smiled. "Neither do we." Hours later they landed. The air was thick. The land was wild. No cities, no satellites, no signs of life, just nature. Jack looked around. "So this is it?" She nodded. "For now." He picked up a stick. "Then let's build something." A home? A start. They worked together, side by side, cutting vines, carving wood, starting a fire. And when the sun dipped low and the stars blinked back into the sky, Jack wrapped a blanket around them both. Vale Rin rested her head on his chest. "You were my mission," she said. He smiled. "And you were my mystery." They sat in silence. Then she whispered something only the stars could hear. "Now we're each other's future."